When I first came across this dish, I knew I had to try it. It's supposedly better than brisket, and it's a perfect way to blend fire and fermentation. I'm talking about LeRoy Lewis Style smoked beef cheeks. We season the beef cheeks up with a Texas style rub, followed by a smoke in the offset, followed by a confit and beef tallow, and then finally in the warming oven overnight for a long hold. Then we slice and serve on our homemade potato bread with kimchi, which is the fermented part, and our beet barbecue sauce. This recipe comes off of the LeRoy Lewis barbecue channel, so we're gonna follow that recipe closely and dive in. Let's go. So we start with beef cheeks. These are literally the cheek of the cow. I got these from Sam's. We've got right at 14 pounds of beef cheeks here. What we wanna do is take this fat cap off and then essentially trim down any loose, flappy pieces. The principles are the same with virtually every single barbecue item you trim. Ultimately, what we're gonna end up with is a fist-shaped ball of meat, just like so. We're just gonna save our trim for sausage or burgers or something down the road.
Next up, we season these up. We've got a rub here with just salt and pepper. At LeRoy Lewis, they use 2 parts 16 mesh black pepper to 1 part diamond crystal kosher salt. I think they call this Dalmatian rub. We wanna season these up really heavily, really pack as much rub on there as we can, as we'll end up losing some of the rub during the confit process. The more rub we start with, the more of a crust will develop. And as I like to say, in crust we trust.
Let's get our fire going.
We're out at the pit where we'll drop our charcoal in and get it lit.
Once the charcoal's lit, we'll throw our wood splits on here in a lattice formation. We're using a combination of white oak and red oak today. We're gonna be running our pit at 200 to 225. I think LeRoy and Lewis cook theirs at 250 to 275. On our little backyard model, 200 to 225 is gonna be just fine for us. This video is brought to you by our sponsor, Woodchuck Firewood. Woodchuck has all kinds of different wood. They're based out of Valley Center, Kansas, but they ship their wood all over the country. If you're on the lookout for wood splits that you need for your barbecue, fire pit, or fireplace, Woodchuck Firewood is your one-stop shop. Type in the link below into your browser to access their website and place an order, and tell them that Fire and Ferment sent you over, and they'll take good care of you.
We're now up to temp, so let's get these cheeks on. We'll add in our ThermoPro TP980 temperature probes. We'll monitor the internal temp of these cheeks and check in on them in about 2 hours. I'm also going to throw on some beef tallow I rendered out last night. We're going to be using a water pan today as well. After 2 hours, our internal temp is at 120s, 130s. Let's take a look. You can see the color change here, turning more red, which means smoke is absorbing and the crust is setting. After 4 hours, let's look again. That crust is fully set and they've shrunk up quite a bit. These are ready to go in the confit.
As you can see, I'm using this ThermoPro leave-in probe thermometer, but this isn't just any culinary thermometer. This thermometer is brand new, it's state-of-the-art, and it utilizes both Bluetooth and Wi-Fi technology, so I can monitor not just my meat, but also the ambient conditions of my smoker. Anyone who runs a backyard offset knows that you get a better smoke flavor because you're running a real wood fire, but at the price of convenience, because you always gotta be monitoring your fire and the ambient conditions inside your smoker. I don't know how many hours I've spent through the years just watching fires. And it's cold out, and my family is inside, and I wanna be inside too. This TP980 thermometer lets me do that, and the app is easy to use and foolproof. You can see here how it's monitoring not just the internal temp of the cheeks, but also the ambient temp of the smoker. And notice how the ambient temps are different from cheek to cheek? That's because my smoker has hot spots, and I bet yours does too. Sometimes you gotta rotate your meat to ensure they cook evenly. So take the guesswork out of it with this ThermoPro TP980 thermometer. Click on the Amazon link I've shared in the description below and type in code FERMENT50 at checkout for $50 off your order. Click on the link below and upgrade your barbecue game with ThermoPro today. This deal will not last forever. Get your TP980 now before the price goes up.
Let's get our cheeks in the pan so we can pour the tallow over. You can see here how the tallow has changed color. It's a bit darker than it was as it's absorbed some of that smoke flavor. It's real beefy, it's real smoky. It's gonna make these cheeks super special. Just pour it over. They really don't need to be fully submerged as the cheeks will render a bit of their own fat out and give off some tallow of their own. Now, we gotta cover with aluminum foil. LeRoy Lewis puts plastic wrap on first, but I've actually ruined a batch of these before by using plastic wrap and it melted into the confit, so just foil for me. Then, we go back on the smoker for another 4 hours. We're still at 200 to 225. Alright, 4 hours later, these are ready to come off. You can see that the cheeks are now more submerged in the liquid and they're fully cooked through. So tender, you can see how my thumb just sinks right in with barely any resistance. Look at how tender and juicy these are, unctuous and squishy and supple, and perfectly cooked. I could just crush this in my hand right now if I wanted to. Let's grab an internal temperature here with our ThermoPro Lightning, and it should be somewhere around 200 degrees. After resting on the counter for an hour, these are going to go into the food warmer overnight at 150 to 160, and we'll dig into these tomorrow.
So these have been holding in the food warmer overnight at about 150 to 160. So now it's time to take these out and slice in. We're gonna go for about finger width slices. Just look how tender that is. You do not need teeth to eat these cheeks.
We'll serve them on our homemade potato bread. Kimchi with beet barbecue sauce, LeRoy Lewis style. This whole thing is really clutch. That confit and the beef tallow allows that collagen to render out into gelatin, which makes it super sticky. When you look at a typical barbecue tray, you've got your meat, your bread, your pickles, and your sauce all separated on the tray. This is awesome because all of these flavor components are blended together just like it should be. That kimchi is super acidic and it cuts right through the fattiness of the beef, and it also has quite a bit of spice just to add that extra element. And that beet barbecue sauce is super earthy and just ties in all the flavors together.
Holy
That is how we smoke and confit beef cheeks at fire and ferment. If you like this type of content and you want to see more of it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click on that little bell icon so you don't miss any new content. I love you guys, and stick around.